Hi, and welcome to Behind the Saddle. My name's Liam, and today we're with professional jockey Sean Okeeffe. How are we, Sean? Thanks for coming on.
Hi Liam, how are you? Yeah, no problem. No, delighted. Thanks very much for having me on here.
Have you been up to much lately? Many rides?
No, just usual. Yeah, we're in Clonmel there earlier on today, so three rides there, second and all right, but no winner. So we'll go again the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So, Sean, obviously, I know you're from Ireland. Obviously, we can tell all from the accent. So let's just
Yeah.
take it right back from the beginning. Where did it all start for you?
Uh, yeah, where it started, I suppose. It was at home. I suppose always would have had horses at home in the background. Racing would have been a big enough thing in the family when we were young. So always had the interest in it, and would have started out on the ponies at home and everything. So kind of was always horses from a young age.
Was there a moment when
Sorry.
you knew you really wanted to be a jockey?
Uh, I suppose I always did. I don't remember anything else now. I really wanted to do. I suppose right from when I was on the ponies or used to be on the back of the couch pretending it was a horse, so them kind of things. Like I don't ever really want to do anything else, so it was always what I wanted to pursue anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so did you ever? I know a lot of jockeys go to the various, obviously, especially in England, a lot of racecourse colleges. Obviously, we've got the National Horse Racing College in Doncaster, and obviously the British Racing School in Newmarket. Was there any colleges, or was it just when you grew up with it when you were younger?
No, yeah, no, I wasn't in. We have a race here in Ireland, all right. But no, I never went there. I suppose I'd have been in school. I suppose from doing the pony club and all that with the pony, with the Kilnicks, was the local hunt at home as well. So we would have been with them all along, and then graduate onto the horses. My dad would have had a few point-to-point horses at home, so we started out on them, and I suppose I was still in school, so it'd been just summer holidays, and the weekends then started riding out in the racing yards. Just went from there.
Obviously, you mentioned your dad there. Was he a big support growing up? And obviously, what was your first experience like at the racetrack when you were younger?
Um, yes, yeah, no, definitely. Well, look, he would have always had a few horses there and everything. My granddad would have had a lot of horses um, at the farm at home as well. So, but yeah, we'd always Wexford would have been the local racetrack. So we'd have been going there and to the point of points every weekend. On a Sunday and things. So. I suppose that's where the love for it all really came from there as well.
Yes, obviously growing up and obviously getting more involved in racing. Did you have any inspiration or like any role models growing up in the sport?
Um, yeah, I suppose all the top jockeys really. I suppose I used to love Paul Carberry. All right, was kind of one I suppose that I used to love, and I suppose then when you get a bit older and you get to really understand it a bit more. I suppose I'd followed all the top lads. You'd be always trying to look um, and taking trying to take bits from everybody, like from Barry Gurdy and Ruby Walsh and AP McCoy, David Russell. I suppose they were the big lads when I was kind of growing up and getting more clued into the whole racing thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously yourself as a person, what do you think you've got to have to be a jockey, like personality wise, or what do you think? What traits do you think you have to be a jockey?
Yeah, I suppose you have to be driven for it. You have to want to do it. I think you have to really want it for sure. Um, and I suppose you have to be able to take the ups and the downs as well. There's a lot of downs. You have to be kind of resilient to not back down sometimes and keep going when it is a bit tougher, and a bit of self belief as well, and that you can do it and you can succeed.
No,
Because I
definitely. And
think
what was the obviously we've got obviously flat racing and obviously jumps racing. What was the swing for you for obviously going into jumps more than flats?
Yeah, I suppose jump racing would have been always what I'd have followed a lot more, and even with point to pointing at home, my dad would have had the point to pointers, and we'd have always been always the jump side of things there. And then I suppose I finished school, was uh never really going to go apprentice. I did a couple of summers in Jim Bulger's, all right, but I suppose I was probably maybe a little bit heavy for that anyway. So when I was still in school, I was able to get the amateur license, and with a horse at home that I'd ride then in point to points. To get me going, so that was really it. It was just was always jumping, I suppose, and um, I don't. I suppose I was probably always a little bit tall, maybe. I'm sure there's plenty of lads now that would be a weight, a similar
Yeah.
weight to me that are riding on the flat. But I suppose when I started out as amateur and point to points, that was the easiest way into it for me, and to get a few rides was on my own horse at home that way. So it was probably always going to be jumping then.
Yeah, so let's take it back when obviously you did eventually get your license. What was that fit? What was that moment like when you had your first ride on the racetrack?
Yeah, so the first ride would have been in a point to point in Curramore. It's actually a good point to point track now, in fairness. Yeah, no, geez, it was not unreal feeling. It was a great buzz. It was a really, really wet day, windy day. It was lashing raining all day now, and I remember I'd only brought one pair of goggles out with me, but sure, you wouldn't really understand. And sure, they'd fogged up, and I couldn't see a thing. Couldn't see a whole lot for most of the race, but we survived anyway and got around. And then I think I actually won on the horse then in my third ride. Then he won a point to point. The older maiden novice riders. So but look, it was a great experience, and definitely caught the buzz for the race, and then.
But obviously, you mentioned there you had your first win on your first ride of your career. What was the buzz like that like when you passed the finish line?
Yeah, look, it was great. I suppose wasn't really expected or anything either. It's just really getting going. I was on my own horse for a bit of fun. But yeah, it was a great buzz. And then I suppose I had my first winner on the track. In a bumper for Liz Doyle. I used to go to Liz's on a Saturday in school. And then I started working for Liz when I kind of finished leaving cert and finished the school. I started working for Liz every morning riding out. And so we think it was my second ride on the racetrack. Then the bumper, she was actually a very nice mare. She was first time out, and she won as well. So that was a great kick, and it was a good kick start as well to kind of get going, and people to kind of see it.
No, definitely amazing. So let's just take it into the perspective of like the life of a jockey. What's it like for you when you obviously wake up in the morning so you go to bed at night? What's a day like for you?
Yeah, so look, here generally, I suppose, right here in Ireland, there's not as much racing as England and Britain, so you're probably riding out a bit more, doing kind of full mornings in a lot of yards when you're not racing. So I'll be kind of based in Willie Mullins' a few days a week, and Paul Nolan's they'll be there a day a week as well, and then there'll be a few smaller trainers around that you'd be going to in other days, and going to the Curragh to ride work and things as well. So they're kind of your day when you're not racing. And when you're racing, I suppose you're still kind of going into them yards in the morning. In the winter, then I suppose you're heading off a bit earlier to get to the races, and and that's it. You do what you normally do with the races and everything,
Yeah.
and I suppose you come home then, and it just all goes again.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
obviously you mentioned there that obviously there's a lot more racing going on in Britain. How do you think the difference is between racing in Britain and obviously racing in Ireland?
Yeah, I suppose it definitely is. difference there. All right, so generally less racing here. All right, it can be, I suppose, maybe a bit more competitive. We've probably regularly, bigger fields on day to day runnings, like even in Clonmel there today, you've full field 15, 16, and in kind of low grade handicap hurdles, which they're always competitive. Um, which I suppose that you have to be, I suppose there doesn't leave much margin for error there either. And then, but look, I suppose at the end of the day, it's still jump racing too. Um, but look, I'd definitely happy the way things are in Ireland. To keep everything very competitive.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you keep the balance between, obviously, when you obviously, I know as a jockey you got to do a lot of travelling around, and obviously you got to make sure your diet's right and etc. How do you keep that balance?
Yeah, it's a lot of traveling. Look, I suppose the winter months, winter racing is definitely a bit easier. There's definitely a lot less traveling. You're probably a bit shorter work in the mornings riding out. You kind of have to leave the yards earlier to go racing is earlier in the day. You're kind of home early. You're kind of home. You're home in the evening time. To get your dinner at home and to relax in the evening a bit. Well, summer can be a bit harder. All right. The longer days. You can a lot more driving. You're home a lot later in the evenings with evening race so they can be long days and a bit tougher. I suppose you're home late and you'll be up the next morning. Riding out again too. So you kind of have to keep a bit more balance there. The summer you probably have a bit more weekends off and things. So it's nice to have that too in the summer and things as well to do different stuff.
No, definitely, yeah. Obviously, you've achieved so much in your career so far. Let's talk about your Cheltenham Festival winner on Lucky Watson. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was great. Brilliant winner. Winner in Cheltenham. It was my third Cheltenham Festival winner. I suppose I had a couple. It was a couple of 2 years then I think without one. So you're kind of getting a bit, you're kind of getting a bit itchy, kind of wanting it to happen again.
Well, let's
So
hope so for next year.
sorry.
Let's hope so for next year.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, look at you. It's not easy to go there. If you could come home one every year, it'd be great. But yeah, look, it was brilliant. A great grade one race as well. That they're the races you want to be winning. It's great to be riding in them races, and everything just fell right on the day for Lecky Watson. He jumped super, did everything great, and it just all worked out well.
Yeah, obviously you've had over. What's the atmosphere like at the likes of Cheltenham, big festivals like that?
Yeah, look, a brilliant atmosphere. The big crowds. I suppose we're kind of used to a lot of racing, without a crowd, day to day, and so it's nice at the weekend to go to racing when you have a bigger crowd, and Cheltenham is a different level again to that. So it's great the coverage it gets and the people that come race and to their when you do have a winner, you can really enjoy it then.
No, definitely. And obviously you've had over this season. You've had over 200, obviously rides. Do you set yourself any goals, target before a season?
I not so much. I would try to. I suppose used to always try maybe kind of better the season from before. So I would have had a natural progression of having more winners every year. And maybe slip back a little bit a couple of years ago, but I seem to be starting to go back in the right direction again. Anyway, so look, hopefully, if we could have more winners again than last year, that's kind of normally the goal. You always want to do better and. That's I always just want to kind of better what you've done already. So that's kind of normally the goal really. But that's be the aim. Yeah.
No, and obviously, probably you may. I don't know if you. over them 200 rides you've had, do you ever watch yourself back to try and see if you can improve in any way?
Yeah, no, you would regularly. Like, I'd watch back most races. After definitely maybe ones where maybe you come close, or you think maybe you could have done something a bit different there. You done something wrong. You're going to watch them even a bit closer as well, and might watch them back a few times and things. 'Cause you're always trying to improve. You can always do something better. So you have to keep improving. You have to keep trying to do better the whole time. Or else if you're standing still, you might as well be going backwards. So I think you have to keep trying to get better the whole time. So watching back races would be a lot I'd do, and I'd watch back races before I ride horse again if they're previous times, even if I've rode them before and things as well. Because it just keep your mind fresh in what in what the horse, in what way the horse likes to be ridden, or their little quirks or things, that hopefully that could give you the edge to matter of winning and losing.
No, definitely 100%. So let's learn a little bit more about yourself off the track. Do you have when you're not riding? Is there anything you're doing?
Yeah, so look, I suppose you'd be pretty busy, wouldn't spare time. So myself and my partner have an ex-race horse that she does some shows on and things as well, and have a dog as well. So they keep you busy and be always doing bits of things with them, and everything as well. And I suppose in the summer would play a bit of golf and things when I can as well. So, but yeah, that's kind of. But you don't get a whole lot of spare time in in this game. But so you try to enjoy it when you can.
No, definitely. Obviously, you mentioned your partner. Then is she quite heavily involved in racing? And obviously, has she been like quite supportive of your career so far?
Yeah, no, definitely very supportive. She would have been involved in the racing industry before. So she understands everything, and what you kind of need to do, and what you would be going through. So it's nice of someone to talk to there that would be understanding of what is happening as well. So that definitely huge help there. Because it's tough to do everything on your own. And it's kind of nice to have someone there that is supporting you, and that you can talk to about different things.
So obviously, you did mention before, obviously regarding you went to school and stuff. Then obviously, you've always been involved in horses. But what do you think you would be doing if you wasn't involved in horses? Is there anything you think you'd like
Yeah,
you dip your toe in maybe, or after racing?
like, yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot else. Like I finished school, finished leaving certain things, and actually had a college course, but it was equine science, so I wasn't really getting away from it. It wasn't something I wanted to do either, but um, so look, so I don't know. I think I'd definitely be something within the industry or that, or something outdoors as well. But I think, look, I definitely be probably wanting to stay within the industry somewhere as well. After retirement as well, probably it's,
Yeah.
so that I have the big interest and love for is racing and horses. So I think it'd be hard to move away from it too.
No, definitely. We're going to ask you a few quick fire questions now, Sean. So,
Yeah.
what's your favourite race course to ride at?
Uh, Wexford would be home track that I always like going to Wexford. I always like riding around there, and probably Fairy House would be. I enjoy riding around Fairy House. I think it's a great track too. One of the main tracks that'd be. I did enjoy riding there as well. Yeah.
What is it you love most about riding there? Is it certain things or?
I think it's a very fair track. I think it's a great race course, a very good chase track. You know, uh, good fair fences, plenty of jumping around there. If you have a good jumper there, it's very enjoyable to ride a good jumper around there. I just think, I think it's just a very fair track, and it's somewhere I probably suppose I've had a bit of luck there too, and things as well. So, But yeah, no, I think I always like going there. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I've only ever been to one race course in Ireland. That was Dan Royal, which is. Have you
Uh,
ridden there?
yeah, no, ridden down Royal plenty. Yeah, no, it's a good, very good track as well. Big circuit around there too. They always have a great crowd up there.
Yeah,
Especially at the Grade One meeting there in the
yeah,
start of November as well. So no, look, is one top track as well now. In fairness, and but fair, there are lot of good tracks in Ireland, and a lot of kind of unique tracks as well. So there's a lot of different tracks to visit in Ireland.
yeah,
In fairness, so there is, with that will provide different experiences.
yeah. Hopefully, I'm gonna get to a few more next year for
Yeah.
definite. Sorry. What's your favourite race horse you've ridden so far? And obviously you've ridden a few big ones. Obviously you mentioned before Leckie. Um, but what's your favourite so far?
Um, I suppose I probably wouldn't have a favorite as such. So very lucky to win on Galopin de Champ in the Martin Pipe in Cheltenham. That was a huge win for myself as well. It was a big boost in my career. Started my association with Willie Mullins as well. So I think I owe that horse a lot. And then what he's turned out to be, phenomenal racehorse as well. So, I've won him and Energumene. I've won Grade Two Hilly Way on Energumene as well. So it was great to be on them, top horses. Um, Garden, I suppose there's a lot of horses I enjoy riding,
Yeah.
even at the lower end of the scale as well. Some horses that'll be just very good jumpers and very good riding races that you'd always enjoy riding. I suppose Feet of a Dancer is one that won on there last weekend in Punchestown as well. That won four on her. So she's been a good mare to me as well. So look, it's hard to pick out one really, but
That's a tough one.
yeah.
Now, obviously, you mentioned before the legs are like obviously Willie Mullins high profile trainers. What's it like to obviously ride for them trainers?
Yeah, look, it's great. I suppose. Look, that's where the best horses are, and it's great that you can get you can pick up rides in the big races and the Grade Ones. Um, so it's brilliant to be associated with the art and to get them rides. You just have to, I suppose you just have to go out then and prove and prove that you're up to to riding them and do the best you can. That's where you want to be. That's where all jockeys want to be riding. For them horses and on them horses and for them yards. So I think you have to try and enjoy it as well.
No, definitely. And what would you say your biggest achievement is so far in racing?
Um, uh, Probably the Cheltenham Festival winners would be the biggest. It was one the Martin Pipe and Galvin the Champ, and then the Grade One Albert Bartlett on the Nice Guy and Lecky Watson Brown Advisory. So look, they're probably the biggest ones. All right so
Yeah.
far. So and hopefully we can add a few more to that as well.
Who is this a bit of a tricky question? This one you might have a few. Who would you say your best friend is in racing?
Um, yeah, I suppose I look. Yeah, a lot of friends. In fairness, in
Yeah.
racing, Tiernan Power Roach is probably now he would have been very friendly with Tiernan when we were younger. Would have started out at a similar time and things, and even riding ponies and things. And he's turned conditional professional last year as well. So we'd be traveling to the races plenty more now as well and everything. So yeah, he'd be a very good friend in the weigh room, and in fairness, he get on with most people in the weigh room, and everyone really, and I think it's a nice environment to be in. Everyone is friendly to each other, and a bit of crack there as well, and I think it's a nice environment to be in too.
No, definitely. Obviously, you mentioned the waiting room there. You know, when you before you come out to a race, do you have any like pre-race rituals or any superstitions you may do or before the race?
Um, yeah, well, I'd have a kind of similar routine that I'd always do. Always kind of do a few stretches, before my first ride anyway. So I kind of would have a similar kind of thing that I would do, all the time. And I suppose you'd be kind of getting in your routine of what you do when you get to the races. And I suppose you're kind of, it's kind of similar kind of thing every time. So I kind of do get my own little routine, not in anything uh too special or anything, but I suppose you kind of have your little routine of bits that you would always do before heading out, like just with getting your bits ready, and probably doing a few stretches and bits, and always looking through the race card, and the form and everything before the races then as well.
What's one race you'd love to win one day in your career?
Uh, so look, I suppose the Grand National and the Gold Cup they're the two biggest races.
If you had
You'd
to
love
pick one,
to. Uh, you'd probably like to say the Gold Cup, but then I suppose the Grand National is the race that probably catches you from when you're a child as well. But look, if I could win either one now, I'd take
no,
it. I would.
yeah, definitely 100%. And
Yeah, yeah.
what's one jockey we should all look out for in the future? Any up and coming jockeys you think that's gonna have a big career ahead of them?
Um, Yeah, there's a lot of young jockeys. In fairness, uh, very competitive here in Ireland. So God, try to pick one out now. To be any number of them really. So there is, it's always very competitive when someone goes through their claim, there's another claimer along there very very quick.
Yeah.
So I think there's plenty of lads now that you could pick too. Yeah.
No, definitely 100%. Well, let's
Yeah.
hope they all have a big career. And obviously, one last question: what's one racehorse we should all look out for in the future from the yard, or
Um. Sorry.
what? Just one
Yeah.
racehorse we should look out for in the future, maybe from the yard or from anywhere else.
Yeah. There's. I suppose. Um. I think probably. I think Kopek de Boer is the one to be the champion chaser. I've always a horse I really liked, and be keeping an eye on him everywhere. Um. There's another horse in Paul Nolan's that won a maiden hurl recently, the Devil, So hopefully he can step up in grade, and be a nice horse going forward as well.
No, definitely. And just one final question. Sorry, Sean. What's been one bit of advice for anyone who wants to get involved in a career in maybe racing or not just racing, a career in general in the horse in equestrian industry?
Yeah, look, I think you have to go for it. You have to have a bit of self belief, and go for it, and listen to the help that people will be giving you, and take advice, and try to learn from it. But then at the same time, keep your head down, and if you get knocked down, kind of, just go again, and keep trying, and keep trying to learn the whole time as well. I think that's the big thing. You have to be able to take advice on board, and then to be able to use that, and to go forward again, and give it and keep giving it another go.
Well, that's the end of our interview today, Sean. Thank you very much for coming on. And obviously, we wish you the very best of luck in the future and hopefully get that Aintree Grand National winner and hopefully
Yeah,
Gold Cup.
yeah. I said, yeah, we add up to that. That'll be a dream come true, and hopefully we keep working that way, and we keep fighting for it all. Yeah.
Well, thank you
So
very
thank
much, Sean.
No problem. Thanks so much, Liam. Thank you. Thanks.